Hi, I'm Jim Knotts, President and CEO of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. Welcome to today's virtual reading of the names. 2022 marks the 40th anniversary of the dedication of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. As part of our commemoration, we'll host an in-person reading of the names at the wall from November 7th through 10th, 2022, when all 58,281 names on the wall will be read aloud. In the lead up to that event, we'll be reading names each day online while sharing the photos of these heroes. For our daily virtual reading, the names of the service members will be read by month and day of death between the years 1956 and 1975 in alphabetical order for the given day. We apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Know that our readers are doing their best to honor these service members. We hope you'll listen and watch each day and share with others as we remember and honor those who gave their lives during the Vietnam War.
Richard Lee Adams, Larry Melvin Alcos, Robert Emmett Alexander, Channing Allen Jr., Charles Allen Alvarez, Carlton Amerson, Charles E. Anderson, William Larry Andrews, Paul Michael Ashe, James Allen Barnes, Michael Olin Batson, Lee R. Bays, Jeffrey Landis Beatty, Anastasio Hernand Beltran, William Michael Barenwick, Stephen Bland, George Oliver Boatwright, Lanny Ross Bolding, William Boney, Stephen Zbigniew Borchuk, William Harold Bordner, Richard Lee Bosworth, Ray Eugene Bradley, Anthony Louis Capozzi, Wayne Norman Card, Michael Stephen Carter, James Basil Carter, Michael Glenn Cartwright, Thomas Michael Casey Jr., Thomas Jerome Casey Jr., Robert William Coffey, Douglas Robert Colbert, Kenny Lawrence Coulter, Keith David Ed Will Kuhn, Michael Ray Kuhn, Frank Edward Crabb, Billy Dwayne Crelia, Gary Allen Curtis, Agostino William DeSaro, Joseph William Davis, Alan Charles DeCrane, George Everett Dickerson, James Robert Dinger, Donald Wayne Dixon, Donald Ralph Dorman, Curtis Lamar Duck, Robert Dunbar, Ralph Gerald Dunn, Chester Wade Eden, James Lee Elliott, Richard Wright Ellison, Stephen Eric Emmerich, Domingo Escalante Jr., William Harold Farver, James Oscar Feeman, Peter Matthew Feyerabend, Larry Stephen Featherelf, Eric Anders Fisher, Manuel Solares Flores, Joseph Paul Foran, Thomas Vincent Ford Jr., Taylor W. Foreman Jr., Edward Eugene Fortenberry, Arthur Timothy Friley,
Frank F. Gagliano, Bobby Frank Galbraith, Jan Douglas Geringer, Daryl Ray Garvick, Giuseppe Gianelli, Alexander Giejk, Claude Werner Giles, Jerry Boggy Golding, Gerald Elliott Gordon, Harold Paul Gray, William Leonard Greenwell, Barry N. Grigsby, Stanley Colville Grove, Herbert Don Hammonds, Gerald Quinn Hancock, Edwin Howard Hardesty Jr., Walter Walton Herring, Edwin Cleo Harmon, Craig Mansfield Hemphill, Clement Daniel Hernandez, Donald Alvin Heierlermeyer, Robert Earl Holcomb, William David Holden, Charles Lee Hoskins, Earl Franklin Houck Jr., Michael Ray Hunter, Robert S. Hutchinson II, Jesse W. Ivy Jr., Edward Henry Jackson Jr., Paul Andrew Jensen, Rodney Dean Johnson, Gary Dale Johnson, Kenneth Richard Johnson, Lemon Earl Jones, Leslie Leroy Carnes, Jeffrey G. Kezakowski, Jerome Richard Kelly, Elmer Fred Kepsel, Troy Lee Knight, Vernon Knutson, Donald Edward Colper, Richard Leon Coleman, Kenneth Leroy Coster, Lawrence Robert Kuselek, Evelyn Franklin Langford, Richard Alfred Lawrence, Ernest Frederick Lawrence, Albert Eugene Lee, William Allen Lee, George Gerald Lescarbo, Lee Lewis, Charles Rates Lewis, Kenneth Jernigan Lewis, Thomas Lee Littleson, Roy Charles Littlehales, Freddie Jean Lloyd, Marlo Martin Loker, Lonnie Douglas Lloyd Jr., Adolfo Luna, J. L. Lyles, Colin David McManus, Maurice John Marrier, Harry Eric Matthew, James David McAllister,
Penny Eugene McCorkle, Douglas MacArthur McCarrier, Harold Quinn McDowell, Don Ray McIntyre, Hugh Rufus McKinney, Gerald Lee Milbrot, Carrie Lee Miller, J. D. Miller, Chester Aubrey Mullet, James Howard Monroe, Anthony Montano, Jerry Lawrence Moore, Norman James Moore, Jackie Marcel Morgan, Donald William Morin, Thomas Hall Morris, Ronald Grant Marisha, William Joseph Murphy, Robert Eugene Neal, Kenneth Wayne Ogles, Rick Alton Oliver, John Edward Okuma, Arthur Lawrence Papeo, Ross James Patterson, Ralph Nathan Patillo, Norman Paul Perron, John Scott Penny, Lionel Powell, Angelo Pulara, Roger Dale Payne, John Ellsworth Quam, Cullen Wood Quinn, Nelson Ramirez, Howard Wayne Reese, William Albert Reed, John Henry Reynolds, Gary Charles Richards, Jack Lee Reitmeyer, Dennis Leroy Riley, John Kenneth Ripple, Jerry Alvin Robinson, Robert David Rogers, Pastor Francisco Ruiz, Kenneth Truman Russell, Uniferi Sala Umayua, Joel Warren Samsel, Randall Leroy Saunders, Donald Lawrence Sheeny, Harry Warren Schneider, Wayne Thomas Severino, Sandy Lee Shaw, James Martin Simon, Emilio Rodriguez Smith, Eugene A. Sorensen, James Francis Sosnowski, Joseph Victor Spellman, James Hubert Stafford, Gordon Allen Stokely, Daniel Melvin Stone, Richard Tarkington, Jr., Thomas J. Terry, Pearlie Jr. Thomas, William Archibald Thomas, Robert Bryan Thompson,
Kenneth Carl Titsworth, Jimmy Ellison Tolliver, Michael Stephen Ulig, Harold J. Van Winkle, Jr., Robert Franks Vernies, Luis Vigo Negrin, Valentine Bernard Vollmer, Alexander Kearney Ward, William Davis Wessels, Robert Walter Whitney, Donald James Walensky, Robert James Weiss, Joseph Wiggins, William Michael Wogan, Cordell Emmanuel Woods, Edward Yee, Alton Joseph Zaranga, Jr.,